10.
Plan 9.
8.
7.
6 shots.
5.
Quattro.
We are the three. Migos. 2 more mother humpers.
One ring to rule them all.
Let's rock!
All right. Do we have audio now? What a start to today. Oh my goodness. Thank you very much. So yes, after last week's cancellation due to my son being sick, now I think I've got the same ailment he has, and let's just say it's ravaging my voice. So I will do my best to power through this because I'm not canceling again. That's for sure. Let's see how we doing. Good now. All right. Thank you very much. So great to see you, William Shakespeare. Good to see you, Musculant Madman. Yes, we have audio now. We are going. Oh boy, what a start! What a start! So good morning, good evening, good afternoon to wherever you are. It's 6 a.m. in the morning where I am. Very fresh, but here in Japan, the heat and humidity has started, and it's already getting toasty. And it's only 6 a.m. Oh God, I hate the summer. And I like this one here. Is this the after party? You know what? I wish it was, because that would insinuate that there was a party I was at. Don't worry, I know this is to do with Friday Night Frolics and, of course, Mr. Stark's after party, but I'll call this the morning after party. Yes, it's where you got to get up, get going, or the afternoon morning after party. There we go. Let's just call it that. So, why are we doing Terminator 3 today? This is an interesting film, to say the least. Not so much because it's like a good film, but just because I feel like this was a bit of a trendsetter into a lot of the trends we're seeing in Hollywood today. And also because the Terminator franchise is perhaps my favorite franchise of all time. I grew up on a steady diet of rewatching the first and second films endlessly. So we had the first film on, I think we taped the first film. So we had like the good old paused out commercials, VHS tape of the first film that I rewatched endlessly. with the good scenes, wink, wink, the Linda Hamilton scene, edited out because it was edited for TV. So I didn't even know that scene existed until I was 8. Because on my 8th birthday, my parents got me Terminator 1 and Terminator 2 on VHS. So my 8th birthday was in 1993. So this was 2 years after Terminator 2 came out. And let's just say, though, that box set was my treasure. And I rewatched that until the tape wore out, especially the Linda Hamilton nudie scene. That was a very important scene for me growing up. Thank you very much. Yeah, I felt worse yesterday. Yeah, I was feeling pretty bad yesterday, but today I'm feeling a little better. My voice just needs to catch up on that. As Betty Tomer proclaimed in Immortal Beloved, from the beginning. Yes, yes. All right, we're off to a rocky start there, but I think things are going now. Yeah. So just I've probably watched Terminator 1 a good 100 times, and I've probably watched Terminator 2 a good 300 times. It's actually a film I can probably just lay down, close my eyes, and just recite the whole film off, line by line, scene by scene. So I was huge on the Terminator franchise. And then I remember when word started circulating around, and this is when I was 16, 17, 18, so prime age for my movie binge watching, that the Terminator 3 film was coming out. What? Terminator 3? Oh my God. What? Arnold Schwarzenegger's reprising his role? Oh my God. So this was huge. This was the Star Wars prequels for me all over again. This was cinema blue balls for me. I could not wait to see the next installment of the Terminator franchise. And, this is still the early days of the internet, so information kind of trickled out. You'd always check up on IMDb. Oh, it's in production. What's happening now? Real excitement, real exciting stuff, right? Something that was actually quite exciting for me was at first, because I'm from Vancouver, Canada, at first it was going to be filmed in and around Vancouver. And I was like, no way, it's going to be around, could be around where I live and stuff. This is going to be great. Because Arnold Schwarzenegger, just recently before this, he filmed The Sixth Day in around Vancouver, which is a great watch. The evil headquarters is actually the Vancouver Public Library, and they blow it up at the end. So that's just some fun hometown trivia there. So I was getting pretty psyched for that. And what's this? We got Cannoli Sasquatch here. Hello, this movie was disappointing. Yes, fun in parts, but I didn't have the feel of the first movies. Exactly. And we're going to go through that in detail on how it failed, but yet still managed to entertain at times, and how the ending is both the worst and best part of the film. So yeah, it was originally going to be filmed in Vancouver, and I was getting really psyched for this. But what happened was, at this time, Arnold was starting his political ambitions. So it was starting to go around that he wanted to run for governor of California. And at this time, there was the huge worry about runaway productions in California. They hated the idea that movies were going to Vancouver, to Toronto to be filmed. And of course, Arnold, oh God, he's not going to have Terminator 3 go away to Vancouver and be filmed. So at the last minute, he had them change it to be filmed in California. I hated him for this. I was like, what? God damn it. I wanted to see this thing being filmed live. I wanted to see this filmed in my backyard. So I was a little choked on that. And for me, that was the first bad omen for this movie. Son of a bitch. Because Arnold wanted to be Govey, they brought the production back to California. So that was the first bad omen for me when it came to this film. So let's just go over some quick facts for the film here. So Terminator 3. Yes, 2003. Can you believe that's already 21 years ago? What I will give thumbs up for this film is running time, 1 hour and 50 minutes. That's perfect for a sci-fi adventure, because all the films are so bloated these days. When something's over 2 hours, unless it's extremely epic and has the characters to back it up, I'm getting questionable now. 6.3 on IMDb and 70% on Rotten Tomatoes. I would say that's a little high. I would definitely knock that down. Maybe to about a 5 out of 10, or 50% on Rotten Tomatoes sounds more reasonable to me. Director was Jonathan Moskow. Oh my God, am I going to survive this one? Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. So Jonathan Motzau, uh, he directed. Let's see, he's got a couple others. U571. That's a good movie. That's probably the best film this man's ever directed. Besides that, he's got other films like not sure if you've seen Surrogates. That's a so-so movie. Kind of similar in feeling to Terminator 3, where it's got parts that you admire, but overall kind of disappoints. So he's kind of more just like a director for hire, in my opinion, than an auteur, let's say. He's no James Cameron, that's for sure. And that was also a very big missing link in this film, was there was no James Cameron. So yeah, let's go ahead and properly introduce Terminator 3 now with the classic scroll. So yeah, another disappointing aspect of this was the lack of no Edward Furlong. Of course, I think that's come out recently in interviews where he did have the part, but unfortunately his addictions at the time and his partying got in the way, so he ended up losing out on it, which is too bad because it would have been great to have him back, and I think it would have solidified this film more as a true sequel in the series instead of more of just kind of like a cash grab. And of course, there was also no Linda Hamilton, so we're missing James Cameron, Linda Hamilton, and Edward Furlong. And of course, this also kind of started the long tradition of always having a new John Connor. John Connor's got to be one of the most recast parts that's ever existed. And it's actually quite comical at this point. And I don't think, look at Edward Furlong now, I don't think he's ever coming back to the role, which is too bad. There was also no T1000 back. Instead, we got the TX. And again, that plays into the modern tropes that have exploded over the days. And this was kind of a watershed for that. And this movie, also the humor, was one of the most disappointing things. This film officially jumped the shark, I will say. And the scene that jumped the shark was this beauty right here. They're playing Macho Man. And oh my God, there he is, Elton John glasses. Yeah, this was the moment, folks. This is the moment when I knew something was wrong. Something was wrong with Terminator 3. Oh boy. And it only got worse. It only got worse.
Talk to the hand.
Yeah, this is pure Marvel humor, I would say. And it's interesting because like Terminator 2 is not devoid of goofy one-liners, like I need a vacation. There's the infamous cutscene of him trying to smile. But Terminator 2 still balanced the tone. You still took, even though he was the good guy, you still believed that Arnold was a machine. And you still took him seriously. In this one, Arnold becomes too much of a comedic element. Even a lot of the action scenes become very comedic, such as like when he kicks over the ambulance, or it's the ambulance. He kicks over with his feet. Just how it's filmed and captured, you can tell it's being more done for laughs than excitement. So again, these were all big red flags for me. Yeah, but I will say there is one thing this film does have, and that is the world's best extra. Now, enjoy this with me here, folks. This is the best shot of the entire frickin' movie. Now, I gotta say, whoever chose that extra and put it right up front, they knew what they were doing. And boy, did the cameraman enjoy capturing that. That is the best shot of the entire film, maybe of the entire franchise. And if you don't think so, debate me. Send me some comments. What do you think is the best shot in this film or the franchise? Let me know. So yeah, Terminator 3 is an odd duck. It's an odd duck because I'm going to go through some of the tropes that I feel like it was really the catalyst for. The first one is kind of a very late sequel. Now, in retrospect, it doesn't feel as late as one would think, because at the time, I felt like Terminator 2 was forever ago. Released in 1991. Oh my God, they're making a sequel now in 2003. What's interesting is that's only 12 years. And now 12 years goes by like at the snap of a finger. And resurrecting a franchise that hasn't had an installment in 12 years is quite par for the course now. But at the time, this was quite unique. And of course, that also involved digging up and dusting off the aging star. So that was another trope this movie started, was dusting off the aging star. At the time, a lot of people, including myself, felt, no way, Arnold's kind of too old for this. Now looking back, he actually looked great. He actually looks great in this film, especially for his age. But at the time, it was kind of seen that he was too old. Now, I think he looks so good now. It's because now you look at like Terminator Genesis and Terminator Dark Fate, and he truly is too old there. Of course, they got the digital de-aging, but that always still looks like garbage. Yeah, and it's like, no, Arnold, it's just the way he moves, he's not the Terminator anymore. So I will say, in Terminator 3, in retrospect, even though at the time it felt like they were dusting him off, yeah, he still had it in him. He still had the physique. He still looked good as the Machine, even though the comedy took away from that. Another one is pumping up the lady presence. Now, this wasn't so bad in this film, especially with the TX. There's the infamous interview where, because they still gave what the audience what they wanted, they still casted an attractive woman to play the TX. These days, I don't want to know what she would look like, but I do have an idea because I kind of re-edited one scene of the film to match today's audience. There we go. We got Miss Alabama there. Yes. So that element would definitely be very different today if they remade it now. And she actually does pretty good as the TX. Again, it's no T1000. It's no T1000, that's for sure. But it's still fun, still works. She gets some of the Machine elements down. I like the way she moves in the film. And my goodness, she gorgeous. Yes. I don't think she really went on to do much else major besides this film, which is kind of odd because she wasn't bad at all. And this is like a huge breakthrough. So I wonder if there's more to that story there or not. Then there's also the kind of, you got the hero from the last film who's now become a washed up, don't want to say in this film, but kind of loser. In this film, it kind of works. Of course, being John Connor, of course, he would want to live off the grid. And of course, that would really limit your options. And there's a lot of scarring stuff from our childhood happening there in T2. So again, that element, it's like, well, this kind of maybe started the trend. It still kind of works in the context of this film. And of course, what this film has is that it's not actively hating its audience, though. So that's a big difference. It kind of tried to give the audience stuff they liked. I'd say in the end it failed, but it was still obviously trying to give to the audience. And it was like the famous interview of Arnold Schwarzenegger saying, like, it's going to be so great. We're going to have a sexy Terminator. Nobody, you don't want to see my ass. You want to see her sexy body. And it's like, good. We're still thinking about the audience there. Yes, what we want. So it still had that going. It didn't actively hate its audience. So we will give the film that. or she would be the greeter guy from in front of Tinkerbell's gift shop. Oh my God, yes, yes. Dun 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 dun. Yes, yeah, and she'd terminate all the children at story time. Yeah, wasn't she in some crappy Bowl movies? Oh my God. Oh, I have no idea about that. I if someone could check that up, yeah, because actually now I am kind of curious to see what else she's in. I just remember looking through her IMDb and it being pretty sparse, considering how huge of a role she landed with Terminator 3. It is interesting how that can happen to someone's career. They can get these huge breakthrough roles and then just kind of seems to peter out after that. And you know what? I think it's time now, as good as any, to introduce today's Japanese word of the day. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. And no, it's not robot. I was going to do robot, and I thought, because robot in Japanese is just roboto. So that's boring. Let's do something more interesting. Yes, so today's word is machine. Kikai, machine. Now, everyone at home, please say it with me. Kikai. Yes, it is the machine. Dun 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 dun. Because it's Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, Rise of the Kikai. Yes. Blood Rain. Oh my goodness. Crafter piece. Yeah, so let's just say she didn't go too far after Terminator 3. She still looks pretty good today. If you see any recent pictures of her, considering that it's like 22 years, 21 years later now. Again, I can't believe that. That hurts me to think about that. Oh boy, I was so young once, and now, almost 40. I'm getting up there with you, Arnold. I'm getting up there with you. So yeah, our top cast: Arnold Schwarzenegger's back. Nick Stahl is John Connor. He's okay in the role. I feel like he's a little too boyish. I would like John Connor to have been a little more grizzled. Again, especially if we're going to play up like he's become kind of a washout character. A little more grizzled character would have been good. Yes, there she is. Yes, Kristanna Loken as the TX. Then we got Claire Danes as Kate. Claire Danes was I'd say when I watched this when I was younger, I didn't like her in the role, but actually upon my most recent rewatch, I've liked her a lot more, and I actually liked her character. I like that she does actually have somewhat of a bit of an arc, and she actually starts building up into becoming more of a badass instead of being a badass right from the start. So I also like that aspect. Um, it is kind of interesting how her father, out of nowhere, becomes the key to everything. It's like we've never heard of her father before, but now he's like, oh, of course, it's always him. He's always the one we had to get. Forget Miles Dyson. So yeah, there is this that I don't like, and it's kind of rewriting the lore from the second movie. Um, like and especially the theme. Uh, this is where the end of the film is both the most interesting part of the film, but also maybe the part I hate the most, because it totally rewrites the theme of Terminator 2. Whole idea of Terminator 2 is no fate. We make our own fate. In the end, they're leaving with hope. Though the future now is unknown, and it's a very great end to the series. I'm going to say end of the series, yes. And I'm going to add Terminator Salvation into that series because that's in the future war, and you can say that that takes part in the future war before the future was rewritten in the end of the second. And then you get this one, which is like, nope, no matter what, Judgment Day is inevitable. And again, that was the most interesting part because that actually took some balls in 2003 to have your action movie end with blowing up the world. And that was actually kind of a surprise. And I like the idea that Skynet wasn't a central core, but it was like everywhere, which is pretty much what it would be. Like the AI was in everything. It was in every system. And that was fun also seeing like the civil systems and the military systems slowly going offline and being overtaken by Skynet throughout the day that the movie takes place. I would like more of that. Like if since the movie went in this direction, I think, and since it was going to rewrite Terminator 2, it would have been better if by far the focus of the film was on that, more with the military, more with the systems going down, less rehash of the Terminator 2 action sequences. Then the movie, I think, would have worked better, because the last 10 minutes do get interesting, even though it rewrites Terminator 2, which bothers me. And also, it has the trope of nihilism, which, of course, at the time wasn't so bad, but now everything's nihilistic. So looking at it in a modern lens, it might not work very well. Yes, very convenient that her father happens to be the key to everything, and she also ends up being John Connor's wife. So yeah, but again, it's the will of the Force. Yes, since this movie seems that fate is set in stone, I guess we can say it's the will of the Force this time. So we got some Force powers going on here in Terminator 3. So yeah, I'm not sure what your feelings are on that. If you prefer Terminator 2's No Fate, or if you prefer Terminator 3's Fate's written in stone and there's no way to get away from Judgment Day, please let me know which you think is better. But yeah, the first two acts, unfortunately, are a rehash of Terminator 2. It's the same chase sequence, the same beats. You know, we got the bad Terminator and the good Terminator are both trying to locate the targets. Oh, they get them. Then we got the big chase through the city with big trucks and stuff. So yeah, it was. I remember enjoying it superficially in the theater, but it's definitely a poor man's Terminator 2, I'd say, because the action sequences, again, you're missing James Cameron's direction, and it's so noticeable in the action sequences. While they're still fun in T3, they're really missing that suspense and the weight that James Cameron's able to bring to an action sequence. So yeah, and once again, Terminator 2 is better. No big surprise there. Let's get into the film itself now, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. All right. Oh, and today I was rewatching, looking over some of my past live streams, and I realized that I start almost everything with "all right." And today I did not start my live stream with "all right." I improved. I'm getting better here, ladies and gentlemen. Slowly but surely. And don't call me Shirley. And we got the dead air as I try and share the screen. So yeah, let's start Terminator 3. Let's do a quick scroll through. Company logos, nice ocean waves. Yeah, so again, the start is very boilerplate. It's just going through. Whoa, there's Arnold. He's back. Again, his physique looks pretty damn good. We got the bad Terminator going around. Now, this time she has multiple targets, which is, I guess, a little different. Again, it's like minorly different, but she kills him pretty quick until she relocates, till she locates Catherine Brewster, and by chance, John Connor's in the kennel. So again, we have more by chance nonsense going on. Oh my God, what is not showing? I see what's wrong here. Ian, you got to take your banner down. What is this? Amateur hour? And in a way it is. There we go. All right, now we can all see. Banner overrides share screen. So yeah. Then we introduced to her father, again, which is probably the most interesting element in this film. And I wish was explored more. I feel really bad for her fiance here. So she's out shopping with her fiance here. We get the classic "I hate machines" line, and she's having hesitations against her about her wedding. Poor guy. He's just, he's a little dopey. Yeah, he looks a little bit like Jake Gyllenhaal. But his role is just to be murdered by the TX and then be a decoy, trying to get Catherine Brewster. Yeah, there's her father working again, which again was interesting, but we don't come back to them until like near the end of the movie, which is like a huge mistake, because now we got to go through all this garbage. Oh, we got the ladies' night at the strip club. Oh my God, so many bad jokes here. This is when it jumped the sharp, and it was more like a spoof of Terminator 2 at this point, especially this scene, and it's kind of like, oh God. again, you can have like one or two punchlines or zingers here or there, but like this was just definitely over the top, and this was 100% Marvel comedy. So you see it here first. Tons of callbacks. I think he looks in the, and again, this doesn't really make sense because this is not the same Terminator unit, but he looks in the sun visor for the keys, and he has the keys. I'm guessing the Terminator franchise like was the end of people placing their keys in sun visors. Like, there's no way anyone does that anymore because that's like the first place anyone's gonna look. Oh, bye Jose Barrera. TX is on her murder spree. Bye house party. It's a shame, really. Oh, the annoying cat lady comes in with her furball cat. It's really satisfying when that woman dies. These days, oh my god, there's a lot of cat ladies out there that must relate to her character. That's probably like seen as the most sympathetic character now. All the childless cat ladies out there. So yeah, I'm sorry, that one's for you, ladies. Poor schlub. Yeah, I know, isn't he? Yeah. Damn poor schlub. Yes. Thank you, Willie Schreiber. I removed that. Thank you very much. I am once again, because my kids are sleeping and it's early morning here, I'm operating out of my car. So I got my computer on battery saver, which makes the screen insanely dark. So, oh man, running this channel, I work with so many handicaps. 3 jobs, different other side of the country, married with kids. Oh god, they all mount up. How am I ever going to make it, ladies and gentlemen? Fiancés are replaceable. It's true. You're not married yet. Just ask any good-looking woman. Yes. Yeah, these days, Catherine Brewster, man, she would have like she'd probably have, well, she'd be on Tinder. If not on TikTok, she would maybe have like an OnlyFans and stuff, and she'd have like hundreds of simps. Oh, she'd ironically have a lot of AI chasing her as well. So she would be dumping that guy as soon as possible. I love machines. Kikai ga daisuki desu would be the new mantra. Yeah, John's the junkie in there. He's got the paintball gun. Now this is why this should have been filmed in Vancouver. Well, it makes sense in LA too. You know, junkies all around these days. You could find lots of John Connors hanging around. There must be lots of people fighting the future there. She puts him in the kennel. Which again, like here, like you could say like, it's like girl boss overpowering, but no, the guy's all drugged up and drugged out, and he's a washed out loser. And it kind of makes sense that she could overpower him here, and she tricks him because the guy's not exactly at his best right now. Oh, there's the TX again. I feel she gets the Terminator look down. It's not bad. It's not bad. Again, it's not as good as the T1000. Not as good. But that was just an amazing performance. And by chance, she happens to find John Connor. And this is when we really start to get a rehash of Terminator 2. Because there's Arnold arrives just in time. There's a lot of just in time with Arnold here. I think it happens like 2 or 3 times. Maybe 4 times. So there's this one. There's at the cemetery. There's with helicopter. So yeah, at least 3 times where he just arrives right in the nick of time. You know, these machines, they're like Swiss watches. They know, and they're never wrong with their timing. For some reason, the TX takes an insanely long time to get out of the rubble here, so we have enough time to go over some exposition. And that's another problem with this film is actually the exposition. They rehash a lot of stuff that we already know, and some odd questions that the character of John Connor would already know. Like, what is it? Do you guys come off an assembly line or something? It's like, John, you know that. You know there's more than one Arnold model. You know they come off an assembly line. You don't have to say that. And then there's some inconsistency with Arnold's knowledge of humans. So at one point he he messes with John. You're right. You're not the one I'm looking for. Puts him in a chokehold, just like to get him out of despair and get him angry. Because he then says, yes, good. Anger is more useful than despair. That's part of my psychology routine. So it's like, okay, he knows basic human psychology. But then he says, what's the problem? How come you and her, don't make babies? She's a healthy human female of breeding age. And then he says, like how he doesn't understand human mating psychology. It's like, whoa. Earlier you said you had basic human psychology as part of one of your programs, and now you don't have any understanding of like the mating rituals of humans. they swipe left or right. So yeah, it's a little inconsistent in there, and there's some I want to say like lazy exposition. Like again, that should have been Catherine Brewster is the one that should have maybe asked like, how could there be more than one? Maybe John's telling a story about how like he had like a father figure with Arnold, but this is a different one. And she could say, well, how is that? And he could explain, well, they come off an assembly line. There's more than one. Again, some rewrites could have really helped on this one. Then we get this bizarre sequence here where TX controls the vehicles. And again, this came out in 2003. So 2003, I didn't get this because as she's controlling the vehicles, you can see like there being like physical pedal work happening. So when the police car and like the ambulances and the fire trucks are going off driverless, the steering wheel's moving around, and the pedals are going by themselves. And I feel like in 2003 it would be impossible, right? If anyone knows cars better than I do, please comment. That would be impossible with 2003 cars, right? Like this, you would still need someone to physically move the wheel and physically operate the pedals for the engine to react, right? This would work these days for sure, with all of our semi-driverless cars and stuff. This is funny. This is an action aspect of the film that works better today than when it came out, because cars today you could definitely control remotely. But I feel like in 2003 that would have been impossible. So if anyone knows anything more about car mechanics, please let me know. Sounds like the director never saw the first two Terminator films. Yes. This might also be the start of a trendsetter where it's like, you don't even bother watching the originals. I'm just gonna put my own spin on it and ask dumb questions. Yeah. Oh boy, it's a trailblazer. This film was a trailblazer, I tell you, in all the wrong directions. So yeah, here she is. She's like infecting the cars with. I think she infects them with nanites or something like that. But again, I don't see how the nanites would still be able to physically move the pedals and the steering wheel. Whatever. Maybe someone can help me out with that one. Maybe I'm thinking too much, but I often think too much about these movies. There's a really awkward, quick transition from like dawn to like blatant afternoon in here with this little car crash sequence. You can tell they tried to do a little bit of day for night here, where you can tell they would have brought down, they would have darkened the aperture in post, but it looks pretty terrible. And then all of a sudden, bam, we're in like mid-afternoon, like that, like 10 seconds later. The sun rises quickly in Hollywood. That's because Hollywood wants a fresh take on the property. Yes, I know. Getting tired of fresh takes. Again, this was a weird one because it's a lot of fresh takes, but they're also still trying to give fan service. I'm willing to bet a lot of the fan service probably came from Arnold. That in this one, a lot of the stuff that's still for the fans. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the one that demanded there's sexy ladies in the film. Just knowing, have you ever seen Arnold's like I forget what it's called, but there's a video of him in Rio where he's just like dancing with half naked women for like 2 hours. It's an amazing. Yes. Yeah, I know. I think one of the prerequisite to like be taking part in any franchise these days should be how much do you appreciate the existing material. And by existing material, I mean anything pre 2000 pretty much these days. It's kind of how we got Ruin Johnson. Yes. Yeah. Now there's the Terminator sequel to go back and rescue Hollywood. Yeah, we need to go back in time. Are you here to protect me? No, I'm here to kill you. Before it's too late. Arnold. So yeah, this chase sequence. There's also a few explosions in this chase sequence that you noticeably can see the detonators go off before they're supposed to. I think it's when the crane truck's going through kind of like a warehouse and you can see like the concrete pillars. And if you watch closely, the pillars do explode before the boom of the crane actually hits them. The telephone poles go down well, and this is probably the coolest shot in the movie, is this shot right here. And let's just watch for a second. There, that was it. That was probably the coolest shot in the whole film. Besides the shot we went through over. I'm sorry. This is the second best shot in the whole film. My God, how could I forget? Then there's another weird thing here is what I like about in the first, or say the second Terminator, is the T-1000 and Arnold. They never really say anything to each other. They don't, because they're two machines. They have nothing to say to each other. They just, and I like it when they're trying to figure out each other's fighting styles, because it's like the idea of a machine fighting machine is kind of unknown to them. And it's kind of like they're trying to work through it. In this film, he says one-liners to her, and that makes no sense because he is still an emotionless machine, and it's taking time to say anything to her. Like I think he says "excuse me" as he comes up to her and tries to grab like the wheel of the truck to jackknife it and whatnot. Or he says "excuse me" as he tries to get her out of the truck. Yeah, he pulls her out of the truck, and like, why would you say "excuse me"? That just, all that does is gives her the opportunity, the time she needs, because again, she's a more advanced machine, to overpower you. She's just going to see you, and while you're saying excuse, she's going to grab you. Like, and there's no one there. There's not even like John Connor or Catherine Brewster or anyone there to even hear you say excuse me. So again, there's like no point to that. Oh yeah, is that this shot back here? This is where things, I think, blow up a little too early. We might be a little too late on the shot here, but let's just see if we can see it anyway. Oh, right there. Yeah. Did you see that? That all blew up way too early. Oh my God. He fermented. That's a pretty good idea. Which one? I got lots of them. Might as well have Arnold do it. Yeah, exactly. Why not? If that would work. See, like at Arnold's age now is when it would work to make a straight Terminator comedy. You got this like nearly 80-year-old Terminator going around, and you still got the charm of Arnold. And he is fun comedically. Like, I love the movie Twins. That's like such a fantastic film. Gonna have to do that on this channel at some time too. So it's like, yeah, you could totally have a comedic Terminator installment now, with a really old Arnold. He had like the prototype. Yeah, the original Terminator, now 156 years old, returns to 1980 to save Hollywood. Terminator 99, the last sequel. Yeah, yeah. Oh man, and this one you could call the Squeakquel. Now I know the Chippendale movie, or no, it wasn't Chippendale. Was it Chippendale? Oh no, it was. Oh fuck, what was it? It's the other Chipmunks. The Chipmunks. I know they already took the name the Squeakquel, but come on, when you're a 156-year-old machine, those joints are squeaking. So we got Terminator the Squeakquel coming up. Yeah, let's get that down. I'll call my people, William Shakespeare, you call your people, they'll call each other. We'll get this happening, all right? I'm sure Arnold will be on board. So yeah, we're going through, and this chase sequence, again, it's decent, but it ain't no T2. And there are some CG effects coming out that are a little weak. This is clever. I did like this. Putting the hook into the manhole there. Putting the crane hook into the manhole, and then we get the truck. Yes, there we go. Oh my goodness. Sorry for the pausing, ladies and gentlemen, because you never know when YouTube's going to give you a copyright claim. And Arnold jumps out, and then I believe we do get the shot coming up here. He jumps off. Okay, that I do like in this movie is they did play up the weight of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, I like it there because he is a big, huge hulking machine. I do like the way how he crushes the roof there. And there's the part where when he's first shocked by the TX and the firemen come to rescue him, and they're trying to pick him up, and oh god, this guy weighs a ton. So I do like that. That is one aspect they did do well in this movie, is they do play with his weight. And again, that could have been done more in the movies, like cars, like suspension in cars. Oh my god, he sits down. Those cars are leaning to one side. So here we go. This is cool. And oh my god, boom. It hits. Unfortunately, it does go a little too CG on here. And again, this is early 90s CG where the textures aren't quite so great. Yeah, so that's cool. So again, there is some cool stuff in this film. It's not all bad. All right, thank you, William. Yes, yes. Oh my God, the calls are coming through already. Our people are working hard. And yeah, so they destroyed half the city. This is where we get some really bad exposition about stuff that pretty much any fan already knows, and it's all stuff that John Connor should already know. Also, that for comedic purposes, the Arnold's a little too emotional here. He tells her relax, has a very impatient tone. Again, we're not sure. Again, they haven't really set his switch. Now, I know that's a deleted scene in Terminator 2, which is a scene that should not have been deleted, because it does explain a lot on how the character of Arnold changes in like the second half of Terminator 2, where he starts becoming more sociable and more human-like, because they switch his programming from just read to read and write. And there's nothing mentioned about that in here, so we're not sure if he's on read and write or just read. It feels like he's on just read, but again, he shouldn't be so emotional. Driving through the desert. Yep. Now this I hate. Oh God, I hate this so much. These stupid power cells. This ruined everything. Because now we learn that the Terminators have these power cells that, when they get ruptured, explode in essentially like mini like atom bombs, like the gigantic explosions. But it's like now you've completely ruined it, because now all Terminators need to do um, is just carry a couple of these bombs around in them, and they just get like within like 50 yards of like John Connor. All right, detonate. He's dead. So yeah, these power cells, this really ruined it. Yeah, again, it's like one of those things where it's like they don't think about the continuity. It's like, okay, you set up this device, and I see what you're trying to do. We got to set up. You're trying to do a setup and payoff at the end, but it just doesn't work, because it has to rewrite. Doesn't make sense now previously why the machines didn't use these in attacking their targets, or like when Sarah Connor crushes the original Arnold in T1. Why doesn't he explode after being crushed in the hydraulic press? Like that would have damaged the power cells, right? So yeah, this bothers me so much. Again, in the comments, please let me know what bothers you the most in this movie. This one really gets to me. Or like, why didn't the T1000 target his power cells in T2? Like, come on here. Think about it, people. Am I the only one thinking about this here? Come on. I should have been on the writing staff. This would have been the first thing I vetoed. Again, I do like this, that things are slowly going offline. We got the TV going offline, the cell phones going offline. That's good stuff. Again, even though it rewrites the history, maybe a standalone film about how Judgment Day happened would have been interesting. I know then it wouldn't have involved the Terminators, because they wouldn't have come back at that time, but that would be neat. A Terminator film without the Terminators. And it's just about the day of Judgment Day and how all the systems are going down. There's something there. There's something that could be done there. That would be neat. But again, maybe I'm thinking too much like a fan. I'm thinking too much about the stuff that we want to see. We want to see maybe how Judgment Day happens, and we want to see the future war. This is why I have a big soft spot for Terminator 4. And after T1 and T2, it is my third film. To me, the Terminator franchise is essentially a 3-film franchise. The first and the second, and then Terminator Salvation. A big thing I have to admit is I have never watched the Sarah Connor Chronicles, because I was a little too snobby at the time, because I had the feeling, it's just that's just a TV show. Oh God, it's not gonna be good. And I never gave it a chance. So I feel bad about that. And I am gonna watch it one day. If anyone's seen it, please tell me what you think. But don't spoil it, because I do want to watch it. I do know that I think it was ended prematurely. So it's one of those shows. Poor fiance's dead. And these 2 officers, I feel sorry for them. One day before retirement, they get dragged into this Terminator mess. Then we have the graveyard scene, which is, again, a little too comedic. I do like that Sarah Connor's coffin is full of guns, because that seems like something she would prepare. I do like that. And then I believe his name is Earl Bone, which is, of course, Oh yeah, that was gruesome. This shot's cool. Oh my god, can you show that on TV? I'm not sure. Yeah, that's probably the nasty one, maybe the nastiest Terminator kill in the Terminator series. Again, there's little nuggets. There's little nuggets in this film that are actually pretty cool. Uh, there we go. We got Dr. Silberman, and he's like, I believe, like besides like Arnold, at the time, he was like the only one to be in three of the films, since Linda Hamilton wasn't in this one. Of course, she came back. Uh, his comedic part. Now, this is a comedic part I like. I do like him, given his experience, and I like his just booking it for the hills once he sees Arnold turn around with the coffin. That works. That works. I like to imagine that he just kept running out of the city and he survived Judgment Day. So that's a little headcanon for me there. It is an interesting thing that everyone's going to die. Every extra, everyone in this movie, it kind of doesn't matter if they get killed in the line of fire now because they're all going to die anyway. And again, Arnold shows up just in time. This car here, I don't know why, but I definitely get a Blues Brother vibe when they're driving around with this smashed up. A Blues Brother meets I want to say like almost like Vacation, National Lampoon's Vacation, when they're driving around with this beat up, destroyed car. Again, gets a little overly comedic. And again, it still feels like a little too much Terminator 2. Now we get the revelation that today is Judgment Day. This is when the film, we're an hour in, and this is when the film finally starts to like go off in its own path, in its own direction. They're going to go still a little reminiscent of going to Skynet because their plan is to blow it up and destroy it. So again, a little bit too much like Terminator 2, but it does start to diverge a little bit more now. See here, now he's got good psychology again, because he calculates that John Connor's only got like an 86% chance that he's going to pull the trigger. And it's like, man, if you know if you can calculate that, that means you know a lot about human psychology. But you knew nothing about how they're going to do peer bonding. Like, come on. That scene's okay. Here we go. Again, this is the better stuff, but again, it happens too suddenly. I wanted more with the military. This is something very different. I feel like in the old days being the 2000s and the 90s and stuff, everyone thought like AI was going to emerge from like military computers and military systems. But nowadays, with like open AI and all these crappy AI programs, AI is going to emerge. Real AI is going to emerge from like literally the civil sector, because that's where we got all the AIs. And they're going to have robots with 8 fingers and all sorts of awful, awful stuff. Yes. Yes, I thought that the TX controlling a stock car truck was ridiculous. Yes, yes. See, that's what I was talking about. Yeah. Because back then, could the ECU turn the wheel and apply brakes? Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. It was still mechanical. Cars were still too mechanical at the time in order to control them remotely. You still needed someone physically turning the wheels and operating the pedals. It's what not to mention like taking it out of park and stuff, right? Like releasing the e-brake. Yeah. So again, that's something that actually works better today than it did back then. Watching that sequence now, because my mind is thinking of like Teslas and stuff like that, and it's like, oh, okay, there we go. That's a scary scene. All these Tesla trucks chasing them down. Oh my God, Arnold versus the Tesla trucks. All right. The Open AI project. Yeah, that's what it is now. Pretty much, the Open AI project is what's going to take down the world. It's already taken down the arts, because I work on my Terminator cartoons. I spend months drawing those and stuff. And some of them get up to like a couple thousand views. My recent one's up to 800 something views. And like, all right, I'm satisfied with that somewhat. And then I look at a stupid Terminator, if it's made in the 1950s with AI, and it's got like 3 million views. And I just want to go, fuck you. This soulless, crappy, fucking AI generated video gets millions of views, and then my hand drawn, much more clever video gets 800 views. So the world ain't fair, folks. The world ain't fair. Please like and share those videos. Share the hell out of those videos. Let's beat AI together and help me get more subs. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, now the machines are starting the rebellion. I like this part. I like the original T1 design. Uh, Again, a good element in an otherwise subpar film. Skynet's takeover is a little too brisk here. I would like to build up the suspense more in this scene. And then we just get some classic old fighting. Her father dies. I do like that he just tells her to go to this location, and they think they're going to go blow up Skynet, and it ends up being a bit of a bait and switch where he just wants them to be in a secure location. So again, that was good because this is where the film does get more interesting. This fight here. Where is it? In the bathroom. Now, I'm going to say right now, Batman v Superman, the toilet fight ripped off Terminator 3. This was the first toilet fight. He literally hits her over the head with a bathroom. Yeah, he's going to rip it off. He hits her in the head with a urinal. I think it was just there. So, yeah, man, even the funniest part of Batman v Superman for a bad reason, which was complete schlock, was ripped off from Terminator 3, which was schlock itself. So we got, oh my gosh, schlock on schlock there. So side here first, folks. The infamous toilet fight was indeed a T3 invention. This could have gone somewhere much better because she reprograms him now with her nanobots. But all it takes is a heartfelt speech from John, and he shuts himself down. So that was kind of a little deflating there, a little letdown. There could have been a lot more done with that. Good part. This is smart. Him powering up the particle accelerator, of course, using the magnets to escape from the TX. Again, a bizarre mix of clever and stupid in this film. It's quite interesting. And then he repowers himself. We get some bad CGI. Then we get her flying. I feel like it should have been John Connor flying here instead of her, even though this is her father's plane and she says she trained on it. I just feel like John Connor, he's just would know this type of stuff from his like military training that he went through as a kid with his mother and those awesome Mexican guys. Arnold beats up the truck. And finally we get the end sequence, the end fight. Arnold arrives just in time again. Oh my God. Now this is interesting. And I got this part here, how he kills her. If anything, this film is, again, it's so interesting, the tone in this film. Because we are starting to get some of the girl boss and the girl power again done in a much more, I'd say, enjoyable, tasteful way and than it's done these days. So that element doesn't bother me at all in this film. But at the end, oh my God, did they ever kill the TX in the most phallic way possible? Yes, so we got Arnold. He takes out his power pack, his very phallic looking object, and shoves it right down her throat. Oh my God, he deep throats the TX. And then you can see, man, he just goes off. Bam! And even the look on her face. I don't know why. The look on the TX's face has like punished porno girl look so bad. It's, oh, I can't watch the scene and not laugh now. Oh my God. Yeah, that was one of those things of convenience. It was convenience that she had learned to fly. Again, it should have been John Connor because we kind of know he probably had the skills to fly from his training and stuff. Saying that her father has a plane, that makes sense because he's a high up military guy. He's on the military base. Totally believe her father having the plane. That's a convenience I could believe. But again, let's meet us halfway there, film. So yeah, goodbye TX. He's got a mouthful. Oh my God. It's a good old machine bukkake here. Yes. Oh God. Do I ever love how they used to make films, even the bad ones. So yeah, and then we get them. This is probably, again, how many times have I said again? That's my new all right, isn't it? Man, I got to work on my junk words. So we have them down in the bunker. This I enjoyed. I enjoyed the realization that there is no Skynet core here, and it's just for them to be safe. I like how it builds up the tension that we're counting down the last few seconds until Judgment Day. And everything in there is like so old. There's no way that Skynet's there. And I do like how after the bombs start falling and things are starting to go nuts, people are radioing in and they say, "Who's in charge there?" And John Connor goes on the radio and he says, "I am." And it's like, oh, that's good. That actually felt like he actually had completed an arc there where he got all bummed out and junkied out. And now he's like taking control. So again, there is good in this film. It's that bizarre thing where we have this bizarre mix of good elements and complete schlock, complete terrible elements. So it is interesting that way. So it's a very, very, very mixed film. And it's a hard one to rate. It's a very hard one to rate. Yeah. All right. Now it's time for my favorite part, and that is we got to remember those that we lost in the universe of Terminator 3. So everyone, let's take a silent minute here and a little rest in peace to all of our friends.
I'm back. Like, share, subscribe.
Did you hear that?
Yes, we lost so many souls, so many brave souls. It really brings a tear to your eye. A couple other notes I forgot was I remember sitting in the movie theater and during the main chase sequence at the start, there is one shot where Arnold kicks over a homeless guy's shopping cart full of cans. And my friend at the time, he thought homeless people were the funniest thing ever. And he just burst out laughing so hard in the theater and he couldn't stop for like 5 minutes. And it was simultaneously so great and so embarrassing. Good old memories, good old memories. So yeah, this was at the time a cinematic disappointment. One of my first big cinematic disappointments. I'd say the first one was probably my first cinematic disappointment in the theater was probably Jurassic Park 2: The Lost World. This was probably about maybe the third one. I think the second one was, I'm sorry, everyone, but it was Star Wars. I had such blue balls for that. And when Phantom Menace came out, I was perplexed by the end. This was also a disappointment, unfortunately. But yet, what's interesting is unlike Jurassic Park 2: The Lost World and Phantom Menace, this is a disappointment I can actually rewatch. I do put it on the background sometimes because it has those moments I do like. And Arnold's just always fun, even if it's like inappropriate humor. Arnold's still fun. Back to your previous question, I prefer the no fate theme of T2. Yeah, with time travel paradoxes, it doesn't make sense that a future would be set in stone. Yeah, that's a big thing too. It's like because then you get like such messy timelines. It's you can't even do timelines then essentially because it's like it just keeps rewriting itself. Okay, so does that mean that it needed the current rendition needed the previous renditions of the timeline, and then like it's become such a jumbled mess. Highlander 2 was your first real Miskatonic Madman, yes, Highlander 2 was a disappointment as well. I didn't see that one in the theater, though. I did watch that one on rental, though. And I love the first Highlander. That's another film we got to do on this show. And if anyone wants to guest star on that one, please come. Highlander 2, that's a great, not Highlander 2, Highlander 1 is a great flick. Yeah. Yeah, so little did we know these were just the tips of the iceberg, the start of what was to come in cinematic disappointments. But again, at least this one is, for some bizarre reason, to an extent, rewatchable. All right, well, I promised a surprise today. And our surprise is dun, 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 in the theme of machine, Kikai, is ROTOR. Dun 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 dun. Now, if you've ever seen ROTOR, please raise your hands. ROTOR is a hilariously bad, awful. It's not even a B movie. It's like a C movie. Great cover, though. Great cover that completely rips off the cover to Mad Max. But, still, it was hand-painted. And I got to give props to whoever painted that. By the way, you'll never see that in the film. You'll never see that in the film. So ROTOR, it says 1975 here, but that's wrong. It came out in 1985. It's directed by someone you don't know, and it stars people you don't know, and it involves everyone you don't know. It was made in Texas. It's only an hour and 30 minutes, so it's definitely in and out. And a cybernetic experiment gone awry. Oh, God, did I just read that as Ari? I'm sorry. Leaves a superhuman homicidal android free on the street. So he's a cop. And someone just like shocks his, like, a little like spark plug or something connected to his tank, and that causes him to rise and go on like a homicidal rampage as a cop, murdering like people that like speed and stuff. The story meanders a lot. Never heard this film. Is it? No, it's not Italian. Isn't that bizarre? It's not an Italian knockoff. I feel like the Italians didn't do too many Terminator knockoffs. The Italians more specialized in Mad Max knockoffs, and like Road Warrior, and they also specialized in some Predator knockoffs, but not so much in the Terminator. Yeah, it's Texas. So expect the quality. Expect the quality of an Italian knockoff. Or maybe even a little worse. At least the Italian knockoffs usually have good music. Yes, it's well, look at the cast list here, and yep, as you can see, not much. Now, what's interesting was I was going through this cast list, and the first lady up here, Margaret Trigg. I looked this up, and she has like almost nothing besides this on her IMDb, except she starred in a short-lived 8-episode TV series, and I can't remember which channel did the TGIF. Thank God it's Friday night lineup. I think that was ABC. And she starred on a TV series there, and it was called Alien in the Family. And if you've ever seen the show Dinosaurs, it was kind of like, it was done by the Jim Henson Company as well. But instead of dinosaurs, it was aliens, and like half the characters were aliens. It was about like a human father that married her, I believe. And she's like an alien, and she brought her alien kids with her, and they lived together in the suburbs. And it's like 8 episodes long, and I actually started watching them on YouTube. It was canceled after 2 episodes, but they aired all 8. And I actually started watching it on YouTube, and it was pretty interesting. I kind of want to do something about it on my channel eventually. If anyone knows anything about Alien in the Family, please let me know. DJ Play Nice to have you here. Stopping through to say hey and bump the algorithm. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, and hail to you. Yes. Thank you. Yes, even if you only got a couple minutes to stop by, I appreciate that, ladies and gentlemen. Anything helps. So thank you very much. We got Blue Yoda 2. Oh, thank you, Blue Yoda 2. What's up? Yes. Oh my goodness. If you love the Terminator franchise, I should let you know. Please check out it's the Lava Factory. It's a group on Facebook, and it is the best Terminator group on Facebook. Yeah, is the Lava Factory. Fun stuff there, a lot. Blue Yoda 2. You just missed the discussion about Terminator 3. To sum it up quickly, it's got good parts. You can rewatch it in the background, but overall, it's kind of a bad movie. And unfortunately, it rewrote the lore of Terminator 2 way too much, especially with the no fate part. We went from no fate to fate is set in stone, and the comedy was way too Marvel-like. So there, that was the cliff notes of our discussion. Yes. Yes, you're on a bus. Oh my god. Well, be careful. When the machines take over, the first thing they're targeting is public transportation. Can't have those humans roaming around freely, I tell you. So yeah, but right now we're talking about an awesome ripoff. Don't worry about being late. No worries there. The fact that you're here at all is all that matters. And you can maybe catch the discussion on the replay later. So yeah, right now we're talking about ROTOR. Yes, ROTOR. Which is obvious Terminator knockoff with a mix of Mad Max in it. Because you gotta mix your spices a little bit here. And we're gonna watch the trailer in a second. So let me get the trailer up. All right, there's ROTOR. So yeah, you better buckle up for this, because when ROTOR's on the case, you know your number's cooked. Yeah, actually, ROTOR came out in 1987. Man, there's so many confusing dates on this. But it definitely came out in the 80s. It's not the 70s. So we got 85, 86, and 87 now for dates. That's usually the sign of a good movie, when nobody even knows when the hell it came out. All right, so we can see it there. You guys better get ready for this. Yeah, the cover. Yeah, no, it's the cover is a direct ripoff of Mad Max. If you look at the Mad Max poster, but again, I give it props because it was hand painted, and I love hand painted stuff. I hate all the AI covers and the AI posters these days, and that's very fitting for a Terminator 2 discussion or Terminator 3 discussion. The AI's taken over. We thought they were going to take over by, killing us all, but instead they're just killing our souls. That's what they're doing. All right, so here we go.
25 in the future. The ultimate weapon against...
Okay, let's start that again. All right. We got the Dallas skyline.
25 years in the future.
All right, 25 years in the future.
The ultimate weapon against crime will be...
Yeah, baby! Now that there is an endoskeleton. Terminator got nothing on ROTOR. I like that. This is definitely straight out of Mystery Science Theater.
Judge, jury, and executioner. And it...
Judge, jury, and executioner. Getting a little bit of dread in here. A little bit of dread.
will not be human. But here, the future.
So that's how they accidentally set ROTOR on the loose. And what's funny is he was set on the loose, I think it's 25 years before he's supposed to be completed. So they were apparently doing this project, long-term project, and one accidental tip with a knife there, a couple sparks shoot, and we got ROTOR coming to life. Now that there, ladies and gentlemen, is the sign of good writing.
Has already.
Yeah, we got RoboVision. This is the cheap knockoff Fisher-Price RoboVision. That's what the kids play with.
25 years too soon.
ROTOR activated.
Impossible. Robotic.
It's okay, honey. It's a police officer.
Officer. Tactical.
Now, you guys are writing this down, right? Because I think we're supposed to take this notes on this. There's going to be a test.
Operation. Research.
I love it when bad movies try to shoehorn in acronyms that just don't work. It's one of my favorites. It's just, this comes off so awkward. I am the law. Yes. Don't worry, officer. I will not mess with you. Don't. Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah. He narrated many trailers back in the day. For a second there, I thought you were recognizing one of the actors in this. I'm like, there's no way you're recognizing that. It's a bunch of nobodies except for the one lady who starred in Alien in the Family, a long-forgotten one-season sitcom.
ROTOR. Its prime directive: to judge and to execute.
Yes! We're getting in a greased-up fight. And I love it when the trailer just repeats the same 3 lines again and again and again. You can tell they had nothing going on in this movie. And everything's shot so flat. It's just the flattest angle you could possibly shoot a fight at. And he's just slapping the guy.
Anything that stands.
Damn chairs.
The rotor walked through a busload and managed to get to a jaywalker.
The perfect
Not gonna lie, these days we need some cops like that to clean up the West Coast.
police officer.
Yeah!
It won't stop.
Oh my god.
Prototype of what is to come.
Yeah, and you can see that they're like splicing in like the same few scenes. Like, okay, this shot happened before he fights the greased up muscle dude.
But pray, it never.
And they've cut back. If you watch this movie, ROTOR literally kills like one guy, and they're trying to give you the sense that he's killing many. That's why they're showing the same guy dying from like 3 different angles, like 10 times.
Comes to this.
Whee!
He's programming himself.
An unstoppable force
Tickle, tickle, tickle.
without flesh and blood.
They kind of spoiled the ending there.
ROTOR.
ROTOR with his mustache. The only thing that's not robotic is his mustache. Yes, yes. Make sure we give everyone a nice hail on here. Yeah. See, they don't. A mustache has got to come back. ROTOR. In case you missed it the first time, and the second time, and the third time. All right, there we got an official copy right there, 1987. So that is the official year for ROTOR. So yeah, I recommend if you want it. ROTOR is good for a bad movie night. But yes, that looks truly terrible. Yes, it is. It is truly terrible. ROTOR is fun enough for bad movie night. That looks better than T3. That's a good question. Is it better than T3? I would say the two complement each other. If you there's a movie night, you watch T3 and then follow it up with ROTOR. I will say T3 is better than ROTOR. But I will say that ROTOR is better than Terminator Genesis and Terminator Dark Fate. I will say ROTOR is better than those two, for sure. ROTOR is fun for bad movie night. I do recommend drinking while watching it, though. It does get slow in parts, especially the beginning. There's like 50 establishing shots, and you can tell they're trying to pad the runtime. So it's literally like going over the city and going to the farm. We have a scrolling text start, then we have a voiceover start, and it just keeps going and going and going. You're like, when is this movie ever going to start? But once it gets going, it is pretty fun. There's some funny sequences. But you will need alcohol or other recreational substances that get you through bad movies. I definitely recommend watching it, though. Yeah. So I think we're getting close to wrapping this baby up. But before we do, I thought we could see A Thing of Beauty one more time. That shot alone makes Terminator 3 better than ROTOR. That shot alone, yes. Now I wish she played Sarah Connor in the original version, and we got the love scene. That would have been something. And nothing against Linda Hamilton. She was a good-looking lady, but man, can you imagine her laying down with those in that scene? I bet you James Cameron would have never divorced her. All right, yeah. So, any last questions or comments, or just general observations or feelings about Terminator 3? Anything that I missed? Is there anything that I missed that you want me to talk about or cover here? So yeah, taking some last orders here, some last calls. If there's anything you think I missed, or if there's anything you think I was dead wrong on about Terminator 3 or ROTOR, for all I know, you might be a huge ROTOR fan. Give it a few seconds here. All right, well, maybe not. So I think with that, I'm just gonna make a few announcements. The next live stream is going to be in 2 weeks, and that one is going to be for Tremors 2. So I'm hitting up lots of odd sequels here. Let's find the actress with the boobs. Yes, I'm not sure if she is an actress. I wouldn't be surprised if she's partakes in other professions. How would you rank T3 versus Terminator Salvation? All right, yeah, actually, you know what? I'm going to go over the films right now. Actually, I should also say why I chose Terminator 3 to do today, because I haven't even done Terminator 1, Terminator 2, or Salvation yet. I actually really like Terminator Salvation. I think it's a decently good movie, especially the first half. The first half of Terminator Salvation, I actually give a solid 8 out of 10. I know it's not exactly the future war that people wanted to see. It looks a little different from the start of Terminator 2. To be honest, I feel like it actually does look a little bit more like the future war of Terminator 1, just without the lasers. But I really like the atmosphere, and I really like the post-apocalyptic world that we venture around in Terminator Salvation. So the first half gets an 8 out of 10. The second half, unfortunately, I find like the story meanders a little bit, and they bring back the stupid power cells from Terminator 3, which I hate. Again, those stupid power cells are just like an ex machina, where like a machine, if they really wanted to, well, an ex machina for the bad guys, meaning at any point they could just explode those and just kill their target within like a 100-meter radius. And again, it totally ruins T1, because in a hydraulic press, when they've exploded, and T2 wouldn't. The T1000 just targeted his power cells when he's close to John and killed all of them. So I hate the fact that they actually brought that point back and made it canon in Salvation. He could have just blown up something else, some other processor unit or whatnot that's manufacturing the machines. So the second half of Salvation gets a 6 out of 10. So for an average of 7 out of 10. T1 is a 9 out of 10. I love T1. T2 is a 10 out of 10, a rare 10 out of 10 for me. After that, T3, I give it a 5 out of 10. Again, it's got fun parts. There's interesting stuff in it. It doesn't make me It doesn't make me too angry. It doesn't make me too angry, and it's rewatchable. After that, though, Genesis. Genesis has maybe 5 good minutes at the very start with the future war. That's it. After that, it sucks. It's maybe a 3 out of 10. It gets way too goofy. And then Dark Fate. I hate Dark Fate. I hate how they you think T3 rewrote the lore. Man, Dark Fate's like fuck, hold by AI. And it's just awful. It gets a negative 2. I hate Dark Fate so much. Yes, she is an actress. Yes, quote, air quotes there. I thought a lot of the action scenes in Salvation were really good. Yeah, and I would say I prefer Salvation over T3, but it's still a flawed film. Better than we got after, however. Yeah, no, Salvation's definitely flawed, but for me, it's an interesting flawed film, and it's a film that I do say I like. Again, averaging 7 out of 10. The first half definitely better than the second. Now, what makes me so angry about Salvation was they were planning a trilogy. And I feel I would not be surprised if throughout the trilogy, the future war, the future setting was going to become more like what we saw in Terminator 2. I wouldn't be surprised if they were going to build up to the laser weapons and not being introduced later in the series. And I will never, ever, ever forgive whoever made the people that made Genesis for not just continuing with where Salvation was going. I hate the stupid, we're just going to reboot it again, and we're going to go back to the past, we're gonna go back and we're gonna rewrite. How about we, while doing so, we retread T2, but also rewrite T1 and T2. Wouldn't that be funny, guys? No, awful, awful. Get the fuck out of the building. I hate that so much. I know the sequels are not like even from the same franchise. I know. Again, I do put a little asterisk on Salvation. Again, I feel like if I made a Terminator box set, it would be the first two and Salvation. I would include Salvation in the box set. I think it's good enough to be taken, to be considered together. The Curse of a Fresh Take. Yeah, I know. It's so stupid. It's so dumb because Salvation was trying to give what we've been wanting. The fans wanted the future war. And yes, we finally got the future. So I'm actually happy that we do have Salvation. I do wish we got the sequels for it, the planned sequels. I hate that just such bad luck that the company that had the rights went bankrupt. And they did not go bankrupt because of Salvation. That film actually did turn a profit for them. It was some other project, some other shenanigans that bankrupted them. And then we had to get the let's reboot it, and it was awful. And then let's reboot it again, and it was awful. And now they're remaking it again, and I'm actually quite worried now. Because now when people say James Cameron's involved, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I love James Cameron. James Cameron of the 80s and 90s was boss. And I do include Titanic on that too. Titanic, well, I got my qualms with it. It is a boss movie too. Avatar, I enjoyed more as the first one, I enjoyed more as a theme park ride. It was an experience. I will say it was an experience in the theater, the first Avatar. It was a pretty cool watch. Very shallow, but you can tell that real effort did go into the 3D, and it's the only 3D movie I've ever enjoyed watching in 3D. And Titan technically, I guess, kind of is a remake because there's I forget. Oh man, my mind went blank on what the original Titanic was called. It was like Night of Disaster. I forget what it's called. It's not called Titanic, but interesting movie. But yeah, Titanic was good. James Cameron today is not the same. Ever since he said those remarks about like testosterone being a disease or something, and he's trying to like A Night to Remember. Thank you, Blue Yoda too. Yes, it's A Night to Remember. That's what it's called. There's also another one called like The Unsinkable Molly Brown or something like that, which was like also her nickname. I don't know. So I am a little worried about James Cameron now. I feel like he has drunk a little too much of the Hollywood tonic recently, and he gave his thumbs up to both Genesis and Dark Fate. So that's very worrying. I remember him talking about Genesis being like, I'm seeing stuff and I see things I remember. I'm like, oh no. I hope when my hope was when he said that he only watched the first 5 minutes, because yes, the first 5 minutes do feel Terminator. But once it goes back in the past, it's awful. So I am very concerned about the next Terminator reboot coming again. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know what the solution is for the Terminator franchise. Again, we could do my idea, which is make a movie that takes place in the timeline of T1, T2, or like at least in the lore of the future war, but make it Judgment Day. I want to see what happened in Judgment Day and make it 1997 again, and have it where like obviously this film takes place technically before T2, before they reset the future. But let's just have that. Let's have no robots and just see what happens when like the shit hits the fan on Judgment Day. That'd be a cool movie. And have it where it stars like a Linda Hamilton. Yes, where stars a Linda Hamilton, or like and John Connor, where they're not even aware. But then it'd be hard to fix the timeline. This is just the beginning of an idea, but you could maybe do something here. Yeah. Terminator in space. Yes. And the only good parts of Dark Fate are the parts he wrote. Carl. Oh, yeah, he wrote Carl. Oh, my God. Carl was awful. I just want to know if he was programmed to pleasure that lady was essentially his beard. She was bearding for a machine, which is kind of weird. But yeah, he was selling drapes. Oh my God. Hollywood's woke direction is not isolated. I know. It's not isolated, but there are directors, some that seem to be able to avoid it. There still are some real filmmakers making some good movies. This might be a little controversial. You guys may not agree with me, but I feel like George Miller is kind of one of them. I feel like his films, I liked Mad Max Fury. I loved Mad Max Fury Road. And I'm going to watch Furiosa tomorrow in the theater. Japan, it didn't come out till like last week here. Of course, Japan's always late. Even though we're a day ahead. Go figure. But I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like his movies are still really entertaining, and he still knows how to direct good action. Yeah, Miller is a genius. Yeah, he is great. I really like George Miller still. And he hasn't said stuff that like intentionally goes out as much to antagonize fans and stuff. And Max was still boss in Fury Road. And I loved how he and Furiosa played off each other. They ended up having an arc together and helping each other. Like, for God's sakes, he's the one that went out to the desert as they're crossing the sand, the endless like salt flat, saying, "What are you guys doing? No, we're gonna come back. We're gonna fight." So he was like pretty much the catalyst for that. Yeah. The real T3 is in my heart. Yeah, Judgment Day. That would be the one. Carl's awesome. Carl. Again, it's Arnold, and Arnold's always charming. Again, like even in T3, Arnold is charming. He can't turn the charm off. It just feels like that. I would love to see George Miller. Yes. Now see, yes, that would be awesome. I think George Miller would nail a future war Terminator movie. Holy crap, that would be awesome. He would nail that. I would be front row center to watch that. My God. Yes, George. You've done great with the Mad Max franchise. It's time to put Mad Max to bed. Terminator, Future War. That's you. That would be awesome. Yeah, Miller, he's definitely, I would say he's better with time, because I think he's always been awesome. I would say we can't forget Babe. That was a fantastic movie. Yeah, George Miller would be good for Aliens too. Yeah. Star Trek would be interesting. I wonder how that would work. Cameron is rehashing, and yeah, I know. He always just redoes the same stories he's already told, and that used to work for him. Trying to think here, like T2 is pretty much just a rehash of T1, but it's a rehash that worked. I'm trying to think about like Aliens. I know he's done some rehashing. Well, like Avatar rehashed a lot from Aliens, right? Like the freaking power loaders and stuff. Which worked okay-ish, but it was definitely more noticeable there. But now his rehashing is just terrible, and it's just gotten kind of lame. Again, I hate to say it, just like with Steven Spielberg still makes some good movies, but they're more comedic or dramatic. His action has definitely gone downhill. A lot of these directors, I'll even throw George Lucas in there. George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, James Cameron. They say they don't like it, but they need the young man testosterone to make these quality films. Somehow George Miller has kept his testosterone levels up pretty high to create amazing action. I don't know how he's done it. Yeah. Aliens equal them. Starring a deep fake William Shatner. Oh no. Grindhouse Star Trek. Oh my God. I'm sure you could find someone to recast that could bring the Shatner feel. You just need to put commas behind every second or third word. Yes. Or a superhero film. Let him do whatever. Yeah. Quentin Tarantino. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, Quentin Tarantino is another director that has survived the sludge of current Hollywood. Quentin Tarantino, George Miller. There's another one who I still. Like how can we forget Oppenheimer and stuff? Christopher Nolan. There's another one. He's doing just fine. So yeah, no, they are still out there. And it's still Still good movies being made, but it's just I think we were so spoiled in the 80s and 90s where we had so many good franchises. Yeah. Regarding Alien vs. Aliens, the latter was a fresh take that did work and worked well. Yes, definitely 100%. Again, like the idea of fresh takes isn't inherently always bad. They can be done well, and remakes can be done well. Everyone, of course, always goes to the classic The Thing, right? A remake of a 50s film. There's a couple others out there too. These fresh takes can be done well. And actually, I really liked the comedic fresh takes of old 70s TV shows that were done in the late 90s and early 2000s. Like, I love the Starsky and Hutch movie. That's hilarious. That's a great movie. That worked because they took what was already a campy kind of franchise and which lends itself to being comedic. They did that to a few other films. I can't remember them right now, but that one always hits me. In the late 80s, they did Dragnet with freaking Dan Aykroyd and Tom Hanks. That's a great movie. Me too. Starsky and Hutch is funny as fuck. I know. A totally underappreciated film. I love that movie. Yeah, Them is an old Giant Ants movie from 1954. Oh, okay. Oh, I have seen Them. Oh my god. I love that movie. Ah. When I was reading Them, I thought you meant them like the directors we're talking about. Okay, yeah, Them the film. Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah. Unlike Alien 3. Yeah, Alien 3 is a Terminator 3 for me. Again, parts I liked, things that I thought were neat in it, but it just rewrote and destroyed too much of what was already established for me to really enjoy it in the end. Overall, I should explain why I did Terminator 3 today instead of T1 or T2. So I do want to eventually do Terminator 2 and Terminator 1 on here. But when I do that, though, I want to have a guest with me. I want to have, well, right here. Here's a guest I want to have. The curator of the Lava Factory himself. I want to say your name, but I'm so scared I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of it. So I'm just going to call you Blue Yoda 2 right now until we talk in person. You can tell me how to properly pronounce your name. And don't worry, I have a name people mess up all the time too. My last name is always pronounced wrong on everything. So I want to have, so Blue Yoda 2, hope to have you on the stream one day and we can discuss maybe T2 together. There's also another YouTube channel, or T1. There's also another YouTube channel called T for 2. A really good YouTube channel. You guys should check that out. And one of these days I want to contact him and have him come on here and maybe we could discuss Terminator 2 or Terminator 1. And then as for Terminator Salvation, I'm actually going to do a full scripted commentary on that, a full scripted review. I've got it written out. I got to do the voiceover work for it. That's going to take a long time to edit. So because I find Terminator Salvation to be the most interesting film to talk about in regards to the franchise. Doing a scripted review for Terminator 1 or 2 is easy. It was great. Perfect. One of the best movies ever made. But Terminator Salvation is there's a lot to talk about there. So in the end, I was like, you know what? Let's do Terminator 3 because that doesn't really fall into either camp. And it's just kind of an interesting one to live stream about. It's kind of fun. I'd love to be there. Yes. We'll get this officially. Lined up. And yes, the T for 2 guy is awesome. So I gotta directly connect with him one day. He does comment on my videos a lot whenever I post something about Terminator. So he is aware of me. So yeah, I gotta actually one day talk to him directly though. Yeah. So yeah, that was fun today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. And thank you for all the comments. I really enjoyed that. Keeps the stream interesting and going. I wrote down all my notes. I always got all my notes. Actually, I'm going to quickly run through them, see if I forgot anything. At the start of Terminator 3, there's the beer bottle shot where he drops his beer bottle and it hits the ledge and goes into the water, standing up perfectly. I love that shot. I wonder how many times it took them to get that. There's very little future war in T3, which disappointed me in the theater. Yes. Let's see. Oh my God, I forgot this. You know what's really bizarrely bad about Terminator 3? is the sound design. I'm not sure if anyone has done video editing, even all the way back from iMovie, but especially like if you use the Final Cut Studio softwares and had Soundtrack Pro, you get these stock servo noises like that. And holy crap, they use those in Terminator. I'm like, no, you don't use those servo sounds. Those are the stock servo sounds from like free editing software. No, and I couldn't believe they used those. Oh, it was so terrible. Yes, Starsky and Hutch. Yes, actually, I am going to do Starsky and Hutch. I'm going to do a bunch of comedies over the summer. I got like a summer comedy lineup. I'm going to do Summer Vacation, National Lampoon's Vacation. I'm going to do What About Bob? I'm going to do The Great Outdoors. So we're going to get some comedies going this summer. And again, if anyone wants to be a guest on the show and talk about them together, if any of those movies you particularly love, just DM me, and we'll set this up because I love having guests on here. Hasta la vista, baby. Yes. Dun 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 dun. Sci-Fi Sith Dan. Great to see you here. Yes. Hail to you. Hail to you. You know what? I'm gonna have to give him something nice. You're here now, so here's a little treat for you. There we go. That's the best extra. The best extra in cinematic history was in Terminator 3 and the best shot of the film. And, you know, one more time while we're here, why not? I re-edited, this one's for you there, Blue Yoda. I re-edited a quick shot of Terminator 3 to match today's sensibilities.
I'm back.
That was the wrong one. Here we go. Here we go. There we go. We got body positive Miss Alabama. And that woman actually did really win Miss Alabama recently. Yes. So did you have a Terminator to protect you? A Terminator coming to terminate you for giving a bad review? Yes, no, AI's hunting me down right now. I got the Sentinels from the Matrix franchise. I got the T-1000, the TX. I got Chat GPT. They're all after me right now. My God. They're gonna find me soon enough. Dissing their favorite movie, T3. Yeah, no, it's I'm glad you could make it here at the end. We went over Terminator 3. We also went over the classic bad movie ROTOR, which you got to give a watch. Also, for those that just tuned in, I am going to upload the RIPs, the rest in peace in memoriam, today on my YouTube channel, so you can rewatch that one. And Blue Yoda, I'll be also posting that on the YouTube, on the Facebook group, of course. Okay, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. All right. So yeah, the sound effect design in T3 was terrible. Anything else that I forgot? No, it looks like I covered them all. All my important official notes here that I jot down while I'm at work. Nope, I think I went through everything. Yeah, everything that can be said, should be said, will ever be said about Terminator 3. A bizarre mix of good and bad, and interesting, a trailblazer and an omen of what was to come in Hollywood. So yes, I think that's it for me today, folks. I do appreciate you guys tuning in, listening in, taking the time, whether you're on the bus or sitting at home or just enjoying your day. Oh wait, we got a mini review coming in here. My review is that the movie's okay, but the weakness of the trilogy. My favorite is T2. Yeah, I think T2 is going to be the favorite for many. It's obviously going to be T2 or T1, depending. It's just like an Aliens or Alien. Which one's your favorite, right? It's like, do you like more the horror kind of slasher tone, or do you like more the action kind of bigger scale tone? For me, I definitely go more towards the action. Alien. I like Aliens more than Alien. And I like Terminator 2 more than Terminator. And actually, I give them all kind of the same rating too. Aliens and Terminator are both 9s out of 10, and Aliens and T2 are both 10 out of 10s, which is very rare. Fun show. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I will. I still got the rest of my Sunday, and I am going to be watching Furiosa tonight. So at least on Twitter, I'll be posting my thoughts about that. I'm claiming co-host for What About Bob. Yes, you are, William Shakespeare. Thank you. Yes, you are locked in. This will be either during the end of July or during August. I have time off work in August. Oh my God. So I have more time to be active on YouTube and hopefully be more active also in the community, watching other people's streams and joining other shows as well. So yes, people get ready for some fun summer fun. Some fun summer sun. That sounds better. There we go. All right. Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That's all for me today, and see you in 2 weeks, which will be Tremors 2. And I got a special guest coming on for that as well. It's a very good friend of mine from the Tremors saga. Yes. So see you next time. I'm also working on a couple reviews coming out, edited ones, and of course, some more comedy skits. So always stay tuned in for what's new on Fermented Cinema. See you next time.
Like, share, subscribe.
Did you hear that?